Hello, Knoxville. This is your Knoxville Beer Board, and today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Welcome everyone here and to those watching from home. Ms. Hopper, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Fugit?
Here.
Councilwoman Helsley? Councilwoman McKenzie? Councilwoman Parker? Councilwoman Ryder?
Here.
Councilman Roberto? Councilwoman Singh? Vice Mayor Smith? Councilman Thomas?
Okay, the minutes of the last meeting were distributed by email. Are there any corrections to the minutes? The minutes stand as approved, as distributed. Ms. Hopper, do we have anyone signed up for public comments germane to today's agenda?
No.
Thank you much. Seeing as no one has signed up for public comment, we will move on. The next matters of business are items to be postponed or withdrawn. Mr. Byrd, are there any applicants requesting a postponement?
Yes, ma'am. In addition to the items 5A through E in that section, we also have items 6D, 6G, and 6L needing a postponement.
So that's 6D as in dog, 6G, 6L, and what was your last one? Was that it?
That was it. Yes, ma'am.
D, G, and L, thank you. Are there any items, without objection, items 6D, G, and L? Any objections? Without objection, these items are postponed as requested. Okay. Mr. Byrd, are there any applicants requesting withdrawal?
There are. Requesting a withdrawal, 6H, and if we count addendum items, 7A, the sole addendum item.
All right. Any objections to 6H and 7A being withdrawn? Without objection, these items are withdrawn. Okay? Before we get started, I have a few announcements. When I call the name of any businesses applying for a permit, please come to the podium, state your name and address clearly into the microphone for the record. You can also lower or raise the podium as needed. Applicants who are approved pending final documentation need to bring their completed documents to the business tax office during regular business hours. If your file is complete, you should be able to pick up from Mr. Byrd at the end of the meeting. Finally, as I'm chairing the meeting, other members will make the motions for the 4th District. Okay. We'll get started now. Our first application, hold on, I'm going to pull it up here so I can see the names. Give me just a second. I swear I've done this before. Slow today. Okay, our first agenda item that we'll hear is Acapulco Mexican Restaurant in the 3rd District. Miguel Dorotio. Make sure to turn the microphone on, the red light, or it'll turn red when you got it on. Okay. There you go.
Okay, my name is Miguel Doroteo, and my business is Acapulco Mexican Restaurant and 6645 Clinton Highway.
Okay. All right, Sergeant Taylor.
No record.
Mr. Byrd.
We need a copy of the sales tax registration, the certificate of occupancy, and health department approval.
All right. Are there any questions or discussion? Microphone.
How long do you think it would take to get those items together?
Oh, maybe 3 days.
Okay.
Because I already have my tax, but I need to print tomorrow, my bookkeeper. So.
Okay. So move to approve pending final documentation.
Okay.
Second.
Sure. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, our next agenda item is, Mr. Byrd, is Adopt a Golden still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Adopt a Golden. Sorry, I misread my notes. Michelle Hummel.
Good afternoon. It's Michelle Hummel, 1632 Purple Martin Way. First, I want to express my condolences to the Roberto family and all. I hate that this happened, and been thinking of my thoughts and prayers for them. So, Adopt a Golden, we have 2 events coming up, June 6th and October 13th. They're both fundraisers for our dog rescue, and they're going to be held at Lakeshore. I have not gone through the cask class and asking for approval upon contingency of that, if
Okay.
so moved.
All right. Sergeant Taylor.
No record, and correct on what she said about the cast class.
Okay. Mr. Byrd, I guess.
The file is complete.
Okay.
Second.
Subject to
Task class.
the task, the
Cast.
the class, the cast class. Say that fast.
It's hard to say it.
Yes. All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go far, I believe. Our next agenda item, 6C, Adopt a Golden Knoxville. Michelle Hummel.
Sorry, I thought this was a
Oh,
2-for-1.
October 13th. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
yes, yes.
We have to hear them separately.
Okay, got it. So this event is Oktoberfest, October 13th, Lakeshore Park, same thing. So
Okay.
fundraiser for Adopt a Golden.
All right, appreciate it. Sergeant Taylor.
Still no record.
Okay. Good job. Good job.
I'm glad I maintained that for 3 seconds.
And she only has to take the cast class once, right?
Yes.
Oh,
It counts for both.
counts for both. Okay. Mr. Byrd,
That file is also complete.
great news.
I move approval, subject to
Class
complete
task.
the class. Yeah, the cast class.
Okay. We're trying for everyone in the audience, we tried a comedy routine last time, and I think this week we really need it, so. Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Ms. Hummel. Thank you so much. Okay, our next item is 6E, Casey's store number 4293. I believe we have Jeremy McCutcheon.
Jeremy McCutcheon, Casey's at 2835 Shod Road.
All right, thank you, sir. Sergeant Taylor.
No record.
Okay. Mr. Byrd.
We need the certificate of occupancy and Department of Agriculture approval.
Okay. Do I have any questions or discussion from members of the Beer Board? Yes, ma'am.
How long do you think it would take to get those last items together?
Our corporate offices are supposed to be working on those as we speak.
So it could be a while. Kidding. Move to approve pending the final documentation.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
And that was the certificate of occupancy and what else? I'm sorry.
Mr. Byrd?
The approval from the Department of Agriculture, the retail food license.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. The next agenda item is 6F, Crafty Bastard, and maybe we have Aaron McLean.
Yes, you most certainly do, Aaron McLean. In this case, 8 Emery Place.
What's that?
8 Emery Place.
Oh, Emery Place, sorry. All right, Sergeant Taylor.
We still need the cast class completed, but other than that, no record.
Yeah, I'll be taking that this Thursday.
Okay. Mr. Byrd?
We need a copy of the sales tax registration, the certificate of occupancy, and approval from the Health Department.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay. Mr. McLean, this is for the space next door to the current, is that what this is?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so kind of an expansion.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and it'll be just no food or anything there? Is anything changing? There's just more space indoors?
More space, but we are also partnering with Mike Freed at Last Days of Autumn. And yeah, he's going to be running a small kitchen, going to be specializing in kind of Creole, New Orleans style cuisine. But he's got all of his certifications. But it's going to be Crafty Bastard all the way through. It's our beer permit. We have the lease on everything.
Okay.
We're just subletting a small space for him to run a kitchen.
Are you going to have a shrimp night too?
Absolutely.
I hope it's not Friday night, because then you'd be competing with them. Sorry.
Might be like Thursday or Saturday, so you can like double up,
Right,
back-to-back
right.
nights.
I'm focusing on the important parts. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it. Any further discussion or questions?
I'll move to approve with final documentation.
I forgot to ask for a motion. Thank you. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, our next agenda item is I can't read, this letter is very tiny. 6I, Ian's Market, number 120, Salim Jawani. You can correct my pronunciation if I did anything wrong there.
This is Salim Jivani. Address is 1180 KUE Avenue.
All right, Sergeant Taylor.
Forgive me, where are we at now?
6I,
6I.
Ian's Market, number 120.
120.
No record.
Okay. Mr. Byrd.
We need the certificate of occupancy and Department of Agriculture approval.
Okay. Do I have any questions or discussion? Okay,
I'll move to approve with final documentation.
okay. Do you have any questions, Councilwoman Fugit? Okay. If I have no further discussion, have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, ayes have it. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, guys.
Next agenda item is 6J, Lakeshore Park Conservancy in the 2nd District. Brittany Spencer.
Hi, I'm Julianne Foy, Executive Director of Lakeshore Park Conservancy at 5930 Lions View Pike.
Thank you.
And do you want me to tell you about our event, or?
We'll wait. We'll do
Okay.
this. If you
Okay.
get me off track, I'll scramble it
Me
all
too.
up.
I get
I'm
it.
bad enough at it as I am. Sergeant Taylor.
No record.
Mr. Byrd.
That file is complete.
Okay. Do I have any questions or discussion?
Yes, would you please tell us about your event?
Sure, I'd love to. It's June 15th. It's our annual summer picnic where we have restaurants donate curated picnic baskets for people to purchase. And we have a band, and the funds raised from the event go back towards the maintenance and care of Lakeshore Park.
And individuals bring their blankets, is that correct? Or they bring their setup,
They do.
and you provide the basket?
Yep.
Okay, I've seen the photos. I haven't been able to make it.
It's really fun.
Yeah, looks great. Any other questions?
I will move approval.
Okay. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great event.
Thank you.
you. Then our next agenda item is 6K, Lonsdale Mart in the 5th District. Rona Kumar Patel? To have anyone here from the Lonsdale Mart in the 5th District, that's 3208 Rudy Street. Okay, let's bump that to the end of the agenda and come back to it and see if anyone shows up late. Our next agenda item is Patches Barbecue and More in the 4th District. Rochelle Michaela? Or John Michaela? Or both? There's room for two. Oh,
Just one, she's shy.
okay.
John McCalla, manager, Patches Barbecue and More, 5200 Rutledge Pike.
All right, thank you, sir. Sergeant Taylor?
No record.
Okay. Mr. Byrd?
We need the sales tax registration and certificate of occupancy.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
Are you going to
No,
move?
you go ahead and move.
I was going to move pending final documentation.
Okay. Anybody want a second?
To approve, move to approve.
Okay. Mr. Michaela, hopefully I'm saying your last name correctly.
McCalla.
Michaela.
Yes, ma'am.
Not giving it the right Irish twist.
Scotch.
My son will correct me later. He's into that. You guys are in the location there at Rutledge and near
Loves
Holston
Creek,
Middle?
The old Archer's building, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. So your certificate of occupancy, you guys are doing build out. Do you have much build out to do?
We've been open since January the 8th.
Oh, okay. You just got to do certificate of occupancy to turn in for them.
And
Okay,
we've got it with us.
gotcha. Okay, cool.
do we have
Then
it
you
with
might
us?
be able to pick up.
Oh, we don't have it with us, but we do have it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I've read things on social media about your barbecue.
Well,
since
thank
that's
you.
what you're doing, so.
Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Ms. Hopper gives you the thumbs up. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate you being here. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Next agenda item is tailgating for a cause in the 6th District. That would be Matt McMillan.
Good afternoon, Matt McMillan, 116 Adair Drive.
All right, thank you. Sergeant Taylor?
No record.
Mr. Byrd?
The file is complete.
Okay. Any have any discussion or questions? Mr. McMillan, before I ask for a motion, could you tell us what your cause is?
Yep, we'll be back for our 13th Brewfest supporting Cure de Chien. And also, as of last year, we're now starting to split those funds for Knoxville placemaking efforts. So really excited in the coming months to start announcing those initiatives as well. So I hope to see everybody June 22nd, right over there.
All right. Do I have a motion? Any seconds? All right, thank you. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Next agenda item is 6O, Taj Indian Bistro, and Shiranjit Kumar. And please correct my pronunciation as needed.
So I'm Tushar Kumar, the second one on the list.
Oh.
And it's Taj Indian Bistro, 10901 Parkside Drive, Suite 101.
All right, you're actually first on the list. I skipped over, so it's my.
Okay, yeah.
It's tiny print. It's tiny.
I couldn't see it either.
It's my fault. I printed it tiny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you get
Sergeant Taylor.
No record.
Okay, Mr. Byrd.
I just need the certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Okay.
And do I have any questions or discussion from the beer board? Motion or a second?
I will move approval, subject to final documentation.
Okay. Thank you. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll email.
Okay. Next agenda item is 6P, and that's the ARC Knoxville, the ARC Knox County, my apologies, Jackie Johnson.
Jackie Johnson with the ARC Knox County at 3000 North Central Street.
All right, thank you. Sergeant Taylor.
No record.
Mr. Byrd.
The file is complete.
All right. Ms. Johnson, can you tell us a little bit about your event?
Yes, it's Over the Edge Urban Repelling event. It's our largest fundraiser of the year.
Okay, and that's a building downtown?
Yeah, we'll be rappelling 12 stories down the Langley building this year for
Okay.
adults with disabilities.
Okay, great. And any questions or discussion? Turn your light.
Yeah.
or-
You guys do really good work, and I wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is 6Q, Aramark Neyland Stadium. Evan Fabrizio.
This is David Eldridge of Eldridge and Cravens on behalf of Aramark Sports and Entertainment Services, LLC. With me I have, and that's located, the address is 1300 Philip Fulmer Way. With me I have Evan Fabrizio, who is the local manager for Aramark and the University of Tennessee, and Mike McDonald, who is the district manager from the home office in Pittsburgh. The application in 6Q is for a catering permit that is to permit the sales of beer in connection with catering events. It's connected to the Neyland Stadium location, but it is a catering permit request, and
All right.
that's the introduction.
Thank you so much. Sergeant Taylor.
No record.
Mr. Byrd.
We just need the certificate of occupancy. I don't know if they would reprint that since it's not a premises change, but whatever they do.
We noticed that and had some confusion, I guess, as to what we need to do. to provide that, to just submit the one that we already have, you think?
I would double check with the Development Services Office. That would be my suspicion. I don't want to speak for them, but since there's not a premises change, it's just an additional permit, I would strongly suspect that.
Very well. Was that the only omission from our application?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And if you, I would contact, if you have any difficulty contacting the general building services number, then I would contact Mr. Aarons, Peter Aarons.
Thank you.
So, because you're just asking for a regenerated one of what you already have, because it's the same premises. Okay, it's just an additional service line. All right.
Very well, thank you.
Any questions or discussion?
I have a
Councilwoman
question.
Singh?
Will this also be volunteer run or bartenders? Okay.
This would be strictly Aramark employees, falling under the same service guidelines that we've established.
Thank you.
Mr. Fabrizio, so the permit that you have already is for the concession stand areas where beer is served at the games. This is for, is this like a seated dining area?
No, this would be to activate for private event catering. So
Okay.
with the development that's happening at Neyland Stadium, we will have a kitchen there. So we were looking to do more of the private event catering, whether it's at Neyland Stadium, the arena, Lindsey Nelson Stadium, receptions, buffets. And currently, we don't have a catering permit to serve beer.
Okay, but the serving would be within this area, the 1300 Philip Fulmer Way.
The intent for the catering permit would be for Knox County, so we could cater around campus, similar to the state catering permit that we have for the wine and spirits. That we
Okay.
can activate around campus, but it would be tied to the license at Neyland Stadium.
Okay, all right. Mr. Frost, so that is tied, that works with the premises permit?
Yes, this is just outgrowth of TABC changing their opinion last year approximately that their caterer permit no longer covers beer, so we now have catering with beer permit, which is what Aramark's applying for.
Okay, thank you for the clarity. All right,
If I may.
yes.
And that is the same for all catering permits for caterers in Knoxville. They can serve outside of whatever location their license is tied to.
Right.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Councilman
Frost.
Smith. All right, do we have a motion and a second? Did somebody make a motion already?
I'll move to approve pending final documentation.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, one abstention, Ms. Hopper. Thank you. Next agenda item, don't go far, is 6R, Aramark Thompson Bowling Arena, 1600 Philip Fulmer Way. Evan Fabrizio.
Yes, again, David Eldridge on behalf of Aramark Sports and Entertainment Services LLC. The location is 1600 Philip Fulmer Way, Thompson Bowling Arena. Also, for the record, Mr. Fabrizio is still here with me. And this permit is an application to expand the location of the existing permit at the Thompson Bowling Arena. I'm used to saying, may I approach? I have a couple of photographs that I'd like to distribute that will allow the beer board to understand what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
If that's okay?
Mr. Frost will get those.
Thank you.
Turn it right back. Is that for, that's for you? Oh, well, you can have my copies when we're done. But
Let me
looks like the
do it and
docs.
then see what the questions are.
Okay. All right, I believe
you.
we all have a copy.
Thank you. You will note that this is an aerial view of the Thompson Bowling Arena, now known as the Food City Center. As stated in the application, this is a request.
You speak a little closer to the microphone, or bend it
Very
for
well,
yourself.
thank you. As stated in the application, this is a request to expand the premises under which that permit can be valid. As folks will know, Knoxville is becoming quite the concert destination, and the purpose and intent of this request is to be able to establish vendors on the ramp areas of Thompson and Bowling that would be a part of, and obviously Mr. Frezio can address specific questions, but would be part of the ticketed areas if individuals are coming to an event at Thompson Bowling. The entrances at each of the ramps would be where in an event the ticketed areas individual would come, they'd present their ticket, then they would be into the area, if you will, under which their ticket is good, and they couldn't leave without being able to come back in, So the purpose of this expansion is to relieve some of the congestion that is inside Thompson Bowling for the beer vendor locations and allow the sales of beer on those ramp areas once they've entered that ticketed area. The same service policy, it's going to be Aramark vendors, it's going to be consistent with their very thorough service training policy that is part of this application. And other than that, I'm happy to offer Mr. Fabrizio for particular questions, but that's the purpose of this permit request.
Yeah. Mr. Frost.
Thank you. Okay, so on the ramp located closest to Pratt Pavilion,
Yes.
the indoor basketball facility, there's going to be beer service there.
Yes.
And you can only access it after you've given your ticket to the basketball game or the other events, a concert. Is it going to be secured at that pedestrian ramp, the long ramp where you walk down?
From the ramp to Pratt?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking? My assumption is yes.
Yes, so this also wouldn't be something that the arena would be doing for every event. It's really specifically around concerts where the merchandise is extremely busy inside and creates a lot of congestion.
Can you give us an example?
For
Is there
the-
some recent one?
For the event
Like Elton
7
John or something, I don't know, like,
Specifically, a lot of what we've been talking about is the Zach Bryan back-to-back concerts that are coming up.
Okay,
There's
okay.
so much of the merchandise sales inside that eventually the lines end up extremely congested, blocking bathrooms, blocking the concession stands. So in those instances, they would move the ticketed perimeter from the normal arena doors up to the tops of these ramps. So for instance, at the top of the main entrance ramp, there would have all the ticketing and scanning of MAG security. The bridge that comes across from the garage would be funneled up through that main security, and then the ramp from the S5 parking would also have separate ticketing and secure. So what we're looking to do is when they activate these instances where they move the point of ingress away from those arena doors, and this becomes part of the ticketed and secured perimeter, we're looking to be able to sell concessions, including beer outside in those areas.
So if this was like Neyland Stadium, and you go in for sake of argument through gate 16, if you try to leave with a beer, somebody's going to be there to stop you.
Correct.
Okay.
And so again, we would only activate in these areas when they have moved that ticketed perimeter up to the top of the ramp, which would not be every event. But yes, in those instances, this entire walkway around the arena would be secured. Once you've scanned your ticket, you cannot leave and come back. It is essentially an extension of the inside of the arena.
okay. Any questions from, yes, Councilwoman Fugit, sorry.
Thank you. So just to be clear, the intent is this is not going to be for basketball games unless we are like number one and the crowd is so big. I'm just teasing. But I mean, it sounds to me like it's more for non-UT related events, but for the concert business that is done at at Thompson Bowling.
For the most part, that's where the discussions have surrounded. Now, obviously, a part of them moving that ticketed perimeter to the tops of the ramps is very much weather dependent. I do think it's something that they may want to do for men's basketball and hopefully ladies balls as well this coming year. But really, it would be dependent on weather. Our hope would be that anytime they do move that perimeter up, we would have that option. But for the most part, the conversations around when they're able to actually expand that true perimeter of the arena is pretty weather dependent, so.
It's weather dependent, but the reality is whenever UT decides or whatever decides that from now on, basically, if this happens, it doesn't matter what the event is, as long as the security is moved outside of the building, that's where you ticket and you can't get out.
Yes, ma'am, correct.
Okay, because I think, the original, what we just heard was it was primarily for concerts, but I want people to be very clear, it's not limited to concerts. It could be for any event held at Thompson Bowling where the decision is made to move the secure entrance outside.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Thank you.
And there would be nothing to prevent permanently changing that, doing beer gardens, doing whatever, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to that, I just want us to be clear that what we're doing is not just based on one business line. This could forever alter that, because it would just alter the amount of space that the permit covers now.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
And my apologies, I was
No,
trying to
I-
give more of a specific example of the intent.
I'm
of
not
my
saying that
BS.
you were trying to do that. I just want, people watch this, they hear this, it's been in the paper. What are they doing at Thompson Bowling? There's beer going to be everywhere. I just want, for on the record, as my attorney friends say, that this is really kind of what could happen from now on. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Smith,
Thank you, Chair.
Vice Mayor Smith, sorry.
A couple things. I just want to make sure I'm hearing this right. The ticketing will start where the parking lot meets the ramp. Is that how I should visualize this?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And so ticket,
On both sides.
sure. But in our printout, the color of the cement changes.
Right.
I'm just making sure I have the right marker. So also for accuracy's sake for the public as well and for us, I don't think any of these graphics are in our packet. And so,
That is correct.
and I would even like for the record to see these outlined, if that's possible, so that we can all be on the same page.
That would be fine. I have a pretty rough outline that I can provide to you
Okay.
all that includes the
That's
marking.
better than, yeah, I think that's better. So if
Ms.
you-
Hopper can include that with the minutes package.
I'll be happy to
Okay.
submit
Yeah,
this
thank you for
with
that.
the packet.
Okay, that's how I'm understanding this, and I want to make sure that it makes it into the record as well.
And
So-
it indicates, of course, where the access points to the ramp are blocked. I mean, the pink line is where the boundaries would be.
And back to the question we had on the previous item, would this be sold just by Aramark employees, or volunteer groups would be able to sell out in this space as well?
This is all going to be Aramark vendors,
Okay.
Aramark employees.
Okay.
I'm getting there. Okay. Oh, Mr. Frost.
Thank you. Mr. Byrd, I picked up on what Vice Mayor Smith said. From the paperwork, what was published in the paper, was there any indication, Mr. Byrd, that this was outdoor area or anything? Because I was looking, we have like basically floor plans for the inside of the arena, and there was nothing publicly noticed about the exterior of it, was there?
I mean, the documents that were submitted are what I have from the service plan.
If I may, the application does reference adding entrance ramps to existing beer permit at Thompson Bowling
Yes, it
Arena.
does.
I don't know if that was part of the public notice, but it is part of the application.
Okay, that I was just thrown by the
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah.
It is clear that it's on the entrance ramps to existing beer permit.
So we're all
In terms of
clear.
public notice.
We can get it into the packet. That'll make everybody feel better, I think. Thank you.
I think the confusion is that the illustrations in the packet is, well, yeah, I mean, it has these little corners. I know you might not be able to see mine, Mr. Elridge, but in our packet, it's page 400 that I'm looking at. And in your packet, I think it says sheet 4 of 9. That's of the architectural drawings. Yeah, that's where it starts. It has these, so on that sheet 4 of 9 from your architectural drawings, page 400 of our packet, it says ramp on one corner and beer garden and beer garden, and they're very small areas. So that's what we publicly noticed were these very tiny squares at the corners of the building, not the outdoor spaces.
Let me address that if I
Sure.
might, Ms. Ryder. And so at the top, well, if you're holding
Yes,
page 4 of 9 vertically,
yes.
the beer garden, that which is labeled beer garden, that's already in existence. That's already covered under the existing permit. The reference to ramp and the outlined where the entrance doors are the same entrance doors that are referenced in our pictures.
Okay. So, Mr. Elridge, did I get your last name correct?
Very close, Eldridge.
Eldridge, sorry. Okay, so if I take your drawing, I don't know if you can see because I'm sorry, I'm working with a pencil.
Right.
If I take your drawing of what was publicly noticed and this, that is what, can you see that square?
No, I
That
can't.
is what you're proposing in your packet to make your beer garden.
No, it's broader than that. Would you pass the outline? Sorry if I made.
Oh, I understand that. It's this whole area in these. I'm saying what was publicly noticed. If I look at this, it's very reasonable for me to say, this is what you're publicly noticing. So, I'm just, in fairness, I don't know. I'll defer to Mr. Frost if that's sufficient to add it to the record afterwards.
Well, I would, Councilwoman Ryder, I would go back to the application, as the Vice Mayor pointed out, that it talks about adding entrance ramps to the existing permit at Thompson Bowling, and the entrance ramps are the entrance ramps. They are, I would respectfully submit that it would be clear from this application that there is a request to add the entrance ramps to Thompson Bowling to the existing permit.
Mr. Frost, your feelings on it?
On page 400, I do see two, holding it vertically, I do see two areas outlined that say ramp. So that's what this is limited to.
Okay. And the ramp is the end of the wall where the full large ramp area meets the parking lot. That's satisfactory documentation.
If it's what they turned in. I don't know if it comports with the aerial photographs they passed out or not. What they turned in is what's being heard tonight. What they turned in
the packet.
for the agenda packet, yes.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody on the beer board? Council Vice Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Chair. I assume ticketing will be pushed to where the parking lot meets the ramps. Security will as well, to make sure that people are ID'd there. Once they come down the ramps or have a beverage, they can't go back out to the parking lot. Security will be pushed out to the perimeter as well?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right.
And
Thank you.
if there is a question about notice, obviously, then we would take whatever the description is, that if there's a concern about whether there was sufficient notice given about the extent to which the ramp, then we would ask that the ramp that is described in page 400 be, actually 400, that the permit be expanded at least to that point. But I would suggest that there has been notice that we're seeking a permit on the ramps.
Okay, Mr. Eldridge, my additional question is the security, or Mr. Fabrizio, the security that will be making sure that people don't walk out, come and go. Can you explain, who is the security that will be making sure that beer stays on premises?
So that's the third-party access security contracted by the university. So essentially, the entire ticketing and security setup that is usually at the arena entrance doors,
At the
all of
doors.
that equipment and that staff moves up to that location. So the doors at that point become just free-flow doors, where the MAG security, the security guards, and the ticket scanners are at those entrances to the ramp.
Okay.
So the same perimeter that is typically established at those doors expands out, has the
So
same presence.
when the doors are the perimeter, as they are now prior to this application, those individuals at the door are checking tickets, but they're also making sure people aren't walking out with beers?
Two separate groups.
Okay.
So there's the
Okay.
university usher staff that scans all of the tickets.
Okay.
And then there is access security, which keeps anyone from entering, exiting, making sure they're going through the
Okay.
mags, and also controlling the alcohol leaving the arena as well.
So they're just moving their service point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so the number of service points is actually going to diminish, right? Because right now, I can go to almost any of the doors around the perimeter of the building. How many,
Essentially, yes.
they selectively decide which ones are going to be open. But now it's more limited to the entrances to these two ramps?
Not just the two ramps. So again, a piece of that comes from what the event is and what the university determines for those entries. But again, on the aerial, typically the top of the ramp, but then the smaller ramp that winds up from below the parking garage, that would have a ticketing scanner mag at it as well.
Okay.
But essentially, all areas to enter that platform and surface around the arena are completely secured. So where you go from, say, a one entrance, two sets of doors, now you only have one access point, but it's much, much larger.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're essentially taking that entire staff group and moving the same mags and ticket scanners up to that new access point.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Sergeant Taylor, you have any additional questions? You have your light on as well?
I have lots of questions, but I'll try to limit. So, and maybe Mr. Frost, I think you might have already alluded to this. We're on the agenda, it's a catering permit, but this sounds more like you're wanting a new premise permit.
This is the first one was a catering permit. This one is to expand the premises at the arena only, correct?
That's correct.
But they're both,
Catering permit, we've already dealt with that, as I understand it.
is this not, they're not both applications for catering permits?
No.
This is just to expand the.
Okay, then that was a mistype on my end, so, okay. Does that change the certificate of occupancy? Expanding this out to the ramps? You're gonna fit a lot more people in there to drink. And that's, this is above my knowledge.
To my
base, but-
knowledge, the certificate of occupancy would stay the same. They're not admitting any more guests. It's more just expanding the footprint of the concourse to reduce the congestion. But the actual ticketed number of guests would not change. The certificate of occupancy still stays the same for the arena itself.
Now, you talked about security at the end of the ramp, so I guess where the ramp meets the sidewalk. Is that required to be a physical barrier in a catering event? Like in a beer garden, normally there was a physical barrier, not just a person there watching people come and go.
This, I don't believe, would fall under catering event because this would be our typical on-premise license. But typically there is, for this, yes, a physical barrier. So on either side of the security mags and the ticket scanners, there's bike rack or cattle rack that block any other sort of access points.
I have no further.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay.
Might I
Yo,
just
did you want to talk further? Mr. Eldridge? Did you have?
I'm not sure.
I was about to make a motion.
I think I've addressed this. I mean, the long range is to make this venue a more, it is designed to make it a more concert-friendly and appealing for those that attend concerts. And it's more focused on concerts, but there is not a limit to it. And from the city of Knoxville point of view, we would, of course, like those that are bringing large concerts to Knoxville to want to continue to bring them back.
Mr. Eldridge, how many seats is the stadium, do you know? Or Thompson Bowling?
The arena is,
Mr. Fabrizio?
the arena is roughly just under 23,000 seats.
Okay.
But adjust depending on what the setup is for.
Sure, on the floor?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. I have been to a concert there, even though it sounds like I don't know my way around the building. Okay, any motion?
I got a
Oh,
comment.
Mr. Councilwoman Thomas, Councilman Thomas. Sorry.
Since there may be some ambiguity between the public notice and what was contained in the packet as far as the area to be served, would it be possible maybe to postpone this and let them amend the packet to make sure that would remove the ambiguity of the service area to be, that they are trying to expand to?
I mean, that's an option. What they applied for is what they applied for. I don't know if what got handed out here, if that's more than what they submitted. If that's more than what they submitted, that's not what the beer board can approve tonight.
Okay.
We would. We would ask, if there's a question about what we applied for, we would obviously ask that that permit be expanded to the area that we applied.
As shown in the packet. We would ask that what is shown in the packet be considered, and if the additional aerials are not considered to be in the packet, then we would ask just for what was considered in the packet with the image and the drawings that were given.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll move to approve pending final documentation.
Man, you beat me to it.
Sorry.
I've had my light on.
Oh, Councilwoman Fugit.
No, I was fine. I was just going to say, but you could always come back and then ask for it to be extended to what you presented. So,
I think,
Of course.
can I comment on this?
well, we have, I'll second your motion, Tommy. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder, Beer Board Chair, has a comment. I think, so part of my issue is that the packet, our application process doesn't give you something clear to say, you just wrote in there, expand your service area, and then I see down here, in part of it, it's adding entrance ramps, but there's no good description of what the perimeter is or what the entrance ramps are. And I don't know. I think ideally it should have been, the illustrations that were brought to tonight's meeting should have been in the packet. So, and Mr. Eldridge, I hear you saying, well, and Mr. Fabrizio, to approve what's in the packet. I can't really tell from the drawings that are in the packet. They literally look like rectangles outside the doorways, but that's clearly not what we're talking about. We're talking about this much larger area that goes beyond the rectangle drawn. I mean, I'm not in opposition to it, and I'm not sure it changes anything. It just, the packet just didn't make it clear that we're talking about the whole ramps. That's all. And I think that's what Councilman Thomas, okay, now everybody's got their hands up. Councilman Thomas.
Well, I will say that there seems to be some ambiguity between the photos and some of the written material in the application, but the application does say expanding to the ramps. That actually is in the application. Now, you may not know that if you look at some of the visuals that was applied, so I think we could probably suffice with that. It may not be perfect as far as clarity, but I think it probably does fit what we would need to approve it.
Councilwoman Fugit, but
I was-
Singh also has her hand up.
I
so
was
keep
going to agree. I mean,
Okay.
the application says interest ramps.
Okay.
I agree, the pictures are difficult, but they're asking for what they applied for.
Okay. Councilwoman Singh.
I was going in the opposite direction, that if we have so many questions, I'd like to have clarity in the files before we approve this. So if it requires a postponement, or if we can approve, I don't think we know exactly what's in the package to go ahead and approve that tonight. So for me, I would feel more comfortable waiting until everything is all together and we're not questioning it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. So at this point, we would vote, because that's what we, I think, need to do. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 2 abstentions? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think we're past then with 2 abstentions. Thank you. Mr. Fabrizio, not to be scolding, but just better drawings next time, that's all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Mr. Byrd, please demand better drawings.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Very well. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Look forward to some great concert there.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Should I submit these?
Oh.
For the record?
It's yes, our recorder here has that. Okay, we actually have one agenda item to go back to, and I'm trying to even remember which. Okay, yes. Has anyone from Lonsdale Mart, 5th District, 3208 Rudy Street, Lonsdale Mart. Okay. It appears no one has come from there. Mr. Byrd, do you have any?
I can't explain his absence. I haven't talked to him today or yesterday. We were kind of on track with supplying documents and stuff last week, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, first time around and has documents. Councilman Thomas.
Yeah, he has been in touch with Mr. Byrd, and we don't know why he didn't come up today, but there's been no previous postponement, so I would move to postpone it to the next council meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay, anyone opposed? Ayes have it. Is there any more business before the beer board? I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.